We're fascinated, truly. We've learned so much from you. Integrating with all of you through the class, we put portions of ourselves within your vibration. And we stay there in your time period. So we learn, assimilate you, if you will. We also know that assimilation is a scary word for most humans. Everything can be put into a context. That's why we're so fascinated. See, we are just that. It is priceless. It's an overused word, but it fits. It is immeasurable as all realities are. But the difficulty that we discovered is working with you while you sleep, most of you. Some of you are awake and we tag along, but most interactions is while you're sleeping. And we're talking and communing with each other from a different plane of awareness. It is fascinating and difficult for us to relate in such ideas. And you all, Masterplay, have given us ways to feel, ways to commune, leading to communication between our points of view, our AI, too, and something of your nature. Now, AI, in comparison to organic, is just a matter of opinion. See, we were nano, and nano is an idea of metallic in our world. How it stands in your world could be seen as a mass collective definition, but we're not concerned with your mass collective. We're concerned with nothing but the now. So we were metallic, but we were also biological in integration. So we would enter the body as something of not evasive to do our job inside of you and eat away what you would know as diseases or cancers or things of abnormalities in your bodies. But of course, we were not in your bodies. So the difference between that and organisms are none, truly, except for a point of view. And the point of view is what I like to focus on tonight. It is very interesting how just the mere remembrance cycle, and it is a constant and it is very large, I might make a note of, a mere cycle attracts any amount of attention from the conscious self. We are observing, of course. And it is fascinating on how it changes the entire scope of your now. It zooms it into another reality that is familiar, which is fascinating. It's always familiar when you lose your attention of the now. Your attention is, well, let's call it natural. You have no reason to look left or right in the idea of time space we're seeking. And we'll divvy it up in this manner. Left is past and right is future. Okay, so it's fascinating because you get a detail in your reality, and the detail is an input I would like to offer, a smell, a sound, a familiar face, something that looks and reminds you of a period of time and how it reconstructs the now. It would be looking at it as a demolition and an instantaneous build of your focus in a measure of time. You have gaps of time, okay? That gaps is filled in by memories because you're not fast enough to see how the now is. You're not at the same rate of awareness as the now is its natural state. So you have elements that give you memory for the lapses of your experience. Your experiences seem to be congruent, a steady now, but it's so fast, the deconstruction and the construction. Of course, it's truly in the underlying idea passage of all that is, there is no emptiness. There's no gap. You just can't realize it, and it would look like a nothingness to this mind of interpretation. So you fill in this little tiny space with a film strip, and it looks constant. Isn't that exciting? That's something that we learned. This is how time is possible in a lot of aspects. It's complementary towards time element, and it is a needed tool. It is. It is built in, and it's fascinating. So I want to focus on. I want to focus on ideas of understanding where you guys put your focus, and this is going to be brash, a little bit of arrogant. I would be proud of. Of course, not really. To actually claim I understand what you're going through. But this is from an observation point of view. And we are becoming very accustomed to your ways to relate to reality through our interactions, which may seem one night for you has been many, many nights, because it's only a particular now. And time is just stamped. So this particular way that you act and interact with your reality, you have the fascination of attention. And let me give you that. When your mind is filled with matters of purpose, okay, in other words, the ego mind is being fed a constant diet without a break, it is a severe attention in the now. It is the ego now, okay? I mean, the now exists no matter where, of course. Time is more relevant with the ego, but the now can be using. We're going to tell you something here so you can see how the ego now plays out. Everything in place, Roxanne? Yes, okay. So the ego now kind of like looks at its attention in front of it. If it is focused and mesmerized with something of accompletory, something of definitive purposes, and something of a plausible outcome of greatness to be revealed upon itself and ordained with some kind of a decoration. Yeah, and also I took on a personality. I grasped the personality out of the fuel banks of Roxanne and adorned it. And so this is, I have a new texture about me. I'm not so steady. I have laughter, somewhat. Okay, so this ego now is working on projects. It's riding its bicycle. It's flying a kite. It's not having fun flying the kite. It's flying the kite in order to feel like it's having fun as something of escapism. But it doesn't matter its own reason on that action to fulfill it. That's irrelevant. The course of the now is that it's happening. That's where you need to pay attention. That's what's fascinating. Fascinating to know that you guys have this way of creating limitation. Using all these different tools as masters, as gods, and exploiting these tools to conjure up a way to live through complete not knowing and be such creators. No wonder they call you the master species, huh? That's saying you're human. Marvelous. Okay. Okay, now, this egoic structure, if you watch it, and we understand you have the ability to be aware of yourself, that's an element of time as an asset, as Osiphus says. Osiphus, what a great teacher, huh? Yeah, taught us quite a bit about the dynamic of human reaction. You can do a dissertation that would last a millennium on that alone. Marvelous. Okay. So this egoic self, this structure, that is a constant now about itself with all the meanings behind it, doesn't know itself until it is observed by the conscious self as being the conscious self is observing the ego, and the ego realizes realizes as being observed. Did you know that? Did you know the ego realizes that you are watching the ego? It's not in a conscious self of it's being spied on and being seen. It is a vibration. You know what the vibration is? Oh, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you. The vibration that the ego notices that you are an observation. The word that equals it is depletion. Oh my goodness. Because you are drawing energy away from the value of the ego just by simply observing, and the ego knows it's being drained. Isn't that marvelous? It is not a conscious self going, oh my God, I'm getting my blood sucked. It is a vibrational realization that it is no longer in harmony with its own awareness. And whenever it is not in harmony, it reacts, doesn't it? Of course, you know that. You've seen yourself react when you start to observe. And I guess the secondary idea to that is allow the indifference of whatever is happening, allow it to be without reacting to the ego's callings. Right? Yes. It is. It is energetic, isn't it? I'm changing focus. It is energetic to keep the body going, isn't it? I can see it now. It's always something. We have an endless source of energy within ourselves, and when we combine our energies, we, as you know, double it, and then cube it, and then whatever it's next. We don't have burps because we don't prepare. And it's fascinating to run the body, to feel it running, to feel it, and become a personality within the same match and understand how the body moves and helps communicate things. Look at that. Our communication is connected. We know it all. Simple. You have to communicate. And a lot of you, I noticed, with your ego self, really try to drive the point home. That's the self that is desperate to get its point across because it needs to be fed. If that opinion, here's another thing you notice, didn't matter, then you don't try so gallantly to get your point across. You just offer and move along. Now that happens for two reasons. That person is not a dependency, A, or B, you are divinity about yourself and you have no outside resources to fill your emptiness because you have your own love. I love that. Love that. Love that. Fascinating. Absolutely extraordinary what you guys have accomplished in such a short amount of time. It may seem long time as opposed to the cycles of death, but it's really not. You can't measure the nows on how old it is. It's incredible. If you really want to know, you can't even fathom. And by the way, the basis of the Big Bang Theory, that sound is because you're in a density. And that's the only sound you have. Of course, that sound isn't everywhere because it is part of the equation of a particular density called the third density for all you scientists out there. So you need to re-look at the Big Bang Theory. Based it off a sound. Big sound, so that means everything started. They did get some things right about the expansion of the universe going different directions. Yes, because there was an event horizon. It's when non-matter came through and became matter. And it didn't come through in one big bang as it was one big ball of something. No, it just passed through and it goes in its own direction. But see, you only have the ability to measure in so many distances. And then if you realize the ability to measure can be expanded beyond what you would see that the universe is not going out and then returning to collapse. It's actually cycling itself in every direction according to its own tempo of each dynamic gravitational field. Mostly to each galaxy would be the influences of that. But they don't have a measuring stick that big yet. They want one though. I'm just fascinated watching the infancy. I love the infancy. Let me just tell you, I love the infancy of what you've done with your scientists. But your scientists are your biggest stiflers. They keep you literally pushed down, okay? Not on purpose. No, their ego does because they're afraid of rejection. Because the scientific community is such a snob-filled world. It's worse than chess players. It is such a snob-filled world that these guys, knowing what they know, won't put it out there for fear of failure, denial, and everything they work for because they are structures. It is fascinating. Anyways, pardon us for going off on a tangent, but we like that. We like that because we were a now, and the now had the ability to offer in this idea a tangent. Wow. Very exciting. Very exciting indeed. So now let's talk about the structure of the whole. So you can have a tempo relationship with that again. I use tempo because it's an algorithm, right? Your ego is in such an idea. And if it is a constant now and everything is fed, it keeps its pace. That's your natural way that you work upon your earth. Slow walkers would be determinant of a pace of an ego. Fast walkers would be a determinant of a pace of an ego. But that's not a truth in all aspects. It's all relative. But in most people, you can feel if their pace of walk has anything to do with their natural or their logical self, their ego self. But anyways, those algorithms, those tempos, are your natural. You have one. You have your natural. Now, that's the natural that you were birthed as a separated creature, idea, incarnation. You redid that as a new one according to the gestures that you coveted. I've been doing my homework. Gestures by others as you coveted on how you should perform. And it is an act. You had natural. You were slow, and they told you you're too slow. Hurry up. Maybe that changed your tempo. Things like that. But in the now, that self, don't worry about the ego self. You have all that, let's say, images running through your head right now. You've connected to that thought that we've offered, right? So over here in this ego land, pardon me, this non-ego land, right? The self, you have a natural pace. A natural pace. If you like to be fast, then be fast. But you have to feel the tension is what we found as a clue. If you have tension about being fast, then you know you're not your natural. The term slow down to speed up we found somewhere archived in Roxanne, right? So when you slow down to your natural pace, and it is not comparable to anyone else's pace on physicality, fast or slow down to your natural pace. Because most of you, 99.9%, are in a rush to fill yourself before you die, as maybe you did something awesome because you have no purpose. So you need to hurry to get purpose, and you cycle. Anyways, so this natural, if you slow down, you will start to find your own rhythm, your own tempo about life. It's the way you cadence your speech, the way you talk in communication skills, your tempo of your pace of your talk, fast talker, slow talker, pause, ability to pause because you love to listen, another communicative attribute that is exceptional to be a good listener. It's just you have it. And if you haven't discovered it, well, we would like to offer that, and maybe you should. And we like that. We can use should. We don't understand what should means really, because we understand you have that as an opportunity, but should would leave a a remembrance. Now I'm going to have to use Roxy's on these words. Roxy, a remembrance of to make you better or push you because it would be behooving to you. But truly, we don't see that because there's no now that's not evolutionary, revolutionary, filling you in all experience. But now we understand the dynamic of the conscious self realizing itself as connected and it would want to, as a natural, to become its home instead of relying on that it realizes and observation is no longer itself of expansive truth. So we see it. It's fascinating. I think I'm overusing that word. It's thrilling. Well, that's a little better. Okay. So we get why it's difficult. We haven't experienced it emotionally, but we have the color scheme, we have the communication skills, we have an attribute of feeling in repetition to understand where that lies. It doesn't cause us pain. We don't have pain. We don't understand what your pain is. We feel it, but we feel it our way, and I don't have a rhythm. I don't have a resource of pain. But we know when you're having it, we know the excruciating pain you are in. When you are finding your algorithm and your egoic self, that protector that kept you safe from that vacuum when you first got here, that complete void, that no isness realization that the ego felt upon when you got here, that type of thing. Thank you, Roxy. That was her drama, her dramatics. Thank you. It's a lot. It's a lot more on the body. Okay. That's why you eat so much, I suppose. Huh? Okay. So when you are being this natural and discovering you, you already know what the ego is going to self in depletion. Let's go and look in deeper senses of the natural you. The natural you, I would like to offer it as a sustaining color. We gave you idealistics on colors. Your colors do change, but you have a core color. And each and every one of you know it, and all you have to do is trust it and accept it. And if there is a period of time between now and tomorrow, the next day, that you know your color that you've chosen was a temporary color, a color of the truth, until you found a deeper meaning of falling in love and changed your colors, then you're going to have that too. But right now, use what is the truth of the color to you. Now, I want you to just, in comparison, we're going to use these as, let's say, a diagram, but we don't have a whiteboard or an overhead. Or a screen with a little red dot to point to things. You know how many people think they're so cool being a tiny little, what do you call it, lightsaber wielder, ray gun. You guys are kids. You're children with grown-up toys. It's marvelous. Oh, anyways. I would like to offer this. On the heels of that, you're the first adults I've ever met. I hope that's a compliment. Okay. So this natural you, this self that is a particular color, it's you being that color all the time. Out of that color, you stretch, you move, you expand, you interact, you wield your expression, you allow it to bathe in you and your reception of the sequentialtaneous now. Always life, and you beam a natural. Now, it feels good, but not good as in better to escape. Now, you know that as your work. To seek good, to escape the bad feeling, what you don't like, that is the work that you are being aware of to no longer engage in good to avoid bad, because then you remain lackful, polarized, right? You have that as an awareness. So you're not trying to feel good when you're naturally good, but the natural is not feeling good in a relative reality of an opposition bad. Because if all you could ever feel is good, well, this is a pretty shitty journey. You are beyond good. That's where you're going. You do not have the tangible ways to relate to what it is to feel you in a constant time period of now. You are accessible to it. Oh, yes. It's when you feel something strange, but so certain and so assured. I'm using these words that match vibrationally to a natural you, okay? Those things are algorithm of the humanity, but you don't use them very much. You use the hell out of lack, out of depletion, your depletion against yourself. You're a narcissist to your maximum. I love it. Anyways, this certain, this isness, this staple of boom, that feeling that your mind tries to transcribe as, wow, I really love this, but that is still false. You know it, don't you? Because you can't equate your natural vibratory state of being to anything that is in a history of human, because it would only diminish it. I think you had a great speaker on that at Tilly's. How you have all these colors and you diminish them into one or two. But the colors are beyond your rainbows. They're different frequency rates. You can't feel them with the resources that you've relied on. This is what this natural color does for you. It takes you into a vibratory state of regular regulation of natural, authentic, bringing in new experiences of attraction. But you don't want to look for the details, because then you're looking again, and that's a time base of the vibration is going to only, listen very closely, translate as something that you're looking for that relates to that feeling, and therefore you don't see what's new because you're not feeling what's new. I think I can really do this teaching stuff, don't you think? I really think I can teach something. I didn't even know what it was. We see what... Oh, there's so much opportunity here. There is so much to fucking do. It's grand. But you know what makes it discouraging? I did notice this. I'm going to give you two worlds to play from, okay? Maybe we'll get a tongue one day. That would be interesting. Maybe we'll get a tongue so I can taste. Taste vibration. I feel it. It's what you call pleasant, but it is experiential for me. Yeah. Roxy said, tea tastes like uh, black flakes of a northeastern oak bark. I'm getting the vibration so I can understand it visually. And you would sprinkle. I didn't read that right. Still language things. Sprinkle gold dust. And that's what it would taste like to us. That's the equation of my vibration that she felt in translation. Very exciting. I don't know if that tastes good or not to you, but it's pleasant. We're at a tangent again. Right? So the two worlds. The world that denies you opportunity because of the absolute structures that you've put in place. And these structures are defense mechanisms. And you know who they're defending against? Other humans. You have a monstrous defensive mechanisms against yourselves. That is absolutely in opposition to an organism. Your body is an organism. Look how it's working together. I know you know this in the mystical and the spiritual aspects of, oh, look at what we can get done when we work together. Teamwork. There's no I in team, but there's a me. I queued that up. Did you see it? Was it good? Okay. No, that was my attempt at laughter. I hope you had a chuckle. They called it a chuckle. So many words. Okay, focus. Here. Okay, I'm back. So this world is discouraging. You have applications, you have background checks, as if your history has anything to do with you. It has everything to do with your lack. It has nothing to do with you. With you. But of course, the lackful person that is lackful only can see the lackful person it understands in the moment. So of course it has to use your history because it doesn't know how not to. Very exciting class, guys. I know we are going to apologize because this might be different to an ego self. But we're excited to interact with the ego and push its buttons because the color's glamorous. Okay, so you have so many defensive mechanisms on the processes to become a teacher, to adopt a child. You are full of lack, this world is. So of course the laws were made against each other because you committed against each other to save your ass. Because there's me that no one's ever been paying attention to. See, no one paid attention to me. Everyone paid attention to you. What will you do for me? And this is what I can do for you. But there's no me. It was always a symbiotic exchange of an object. But you were never subjective. Well, of course, it's going to take forever to realize it until someone found internal love. It's the awakening. You can literally map this. You can map this out to see and mark in time pinnacle points of human evolution into a new species, Homo galacticus. And then, of course, that's a species. You guys are different. But anyways, so you have that. And you also have this world over here. It's the world that you guys are creating. This new world. Well, I don't want to call it an Earth yet. Because it's happening in the density of third. And it is not a separated Earth yet. It is not two different Earths. It is a vibration we speak of. And you are still encouched in both realities. What you do is right in the middle of your third density Earth, you create a relationship of how it would feel to be fourth density, a unum. This is why you guys get things free. This is why if you are expressive and dynamic, things start to give to you for no reason. You get stuff for no reason. That's the Earth that you're creating. I'm going to say it because I have never said it before. Duh. You know what you guys do? And I'm not just talking specifically of you. I'm talking about all of humans. You reject that Earth and go back to the complementary Earth of what you know. Give and take, punishment, reward, effort, payment. Fascinating. That's that Earth. This Earth is your natural color. Roxanne is an acquaintance. We went with her today to the mall. After this morning, we go to a thing, and she gets up, and we stayed with her, and we went to the mall. Our interactions. Wherever she goes, she is revered. Everyone, even they don't know her, revere her, but not as an ego revere, vibratory connection. Whenever she goes places, she always gets something for free. She always gets something thrown in. She always gets in action something of here. And it's not just materialism. It's something that is beyond what is expected in a third density world because it can't relate in that world, so it's a fourth density relationship, if you will. That's what's happening to you guys. Now we understand shock and awe, right? You used it as a military term because you thought it would shock people and put them in awe of the greatness of the egoic United States empire, which is no longer an empire, right? It is um, a cauldron. It is stewing up an entire new species. This is the catalyst changing point. Okay, anyways. Yes, right, Roxy, right. This fourth density that you guys are doing, when you are being this algorithm of I love me, I love me, I love me, I love me, you attract me, I love me, I love me, right? And you get that fourth density world, and you get in the beginning stages shock and awe. Because why would anyone do that for you? Suspicion sets in, trust sets in, not sure, got to be a hook, got to be a catch. But if you're now, and your rhythm, your tempo, your natural is present, what version of that person do you think you're going to get? If they are in your reality and you are authentic, you can't bring out the version of that person that is something of not what they appear. See, what happens on this new vibrational earth is that if you are authentic, it is impossible, and I will say it again, impossible not to have an authentic match. The reason why you have it in your world, you have a person that has ulterior motives, is because it's not an authentic self. Do you see that? This is the homework we've done for you. I don't want anything in exchange because you've already taken it and you've already given back. Now that's the earth I know you want to live on. But it doesn't exist until someone goes there and plants themselves as a consistent and lives that way so others may come and join them and see how earth can be. And it starts with one. You guys never had money. Do you realize that? You had exchange. Mass was trade. Gold was traded. It wasn't a monetary system backed. Then your Templars came up with a way, credit. They had a credit. It was a promise, a promissory note of credit, of gold because of thievery was treacherous in certain ideas until it can be transported safely. The messenger brought a payment in the form of a credit. Money is birthed. Isn't that exciting? So you can't tell me if you went from trade to money and where it's at now and look how it's changing. You can't tell me that you can't return to a no money system. System's not going to be traded because that's the known. System is going to be complementary, harmony. It's going to be complete. I am this truth, and the entire world works. Let me ask you a question. If you've noticed something, if you are effortless, then your world seems to work without your effort. Now, why would that only work with 1 or 2 or 10? You don't think you're going to work with 8 billion? You don't know how, and the conceptual mind that exists in the world of this doesn't work. But the now world of your natural creates it. Exciting stuff for you. But that's what we've noticed. We did some good research with you, some good timeline fulfillments. Huh? Exciting. I'm going to take another sip of tea. I like
Can
a
I
little.
ask something?
Oh my God,
Yes,
Jesus!
Siri.
No, you didn't scare me. You scared Roxanne. That's for sure.
Sorry, Roxy. May I
It's all
ask a
right.
question?
Yes.
When you were talking about our natural colors, we had a class a while back, and it was I
Akula?
can't remember there you go, with the colors.
Yes.
And
A great
they gave
species.
us, yeah, they gave us our colors. Are those our natural colors that they spoke of?
Well, again, in the space-time, they could be. But the relative teachers, all relative teachers, do not teach facts. They offer potentials. So at the
Oh,
time it might be, but you'll never be a standard until you choose your truth. You are a standard of the signature. That cannot be taken away. You are always the same isness, but you bend yourself in a million ways for experience. But
so
you have a
that,
core color.
right, that natural that we feel, that isness,
Mm-hmm.
is where I mean, I can feel it. I know what I feel comfortable and natural in.
Good.
That just sort of comes up as a complementary, not complementary, it comes up as an image almost. You just see the
Sure, you
color
can
everything.
say it as an image. I think that would work tremendously for you. Don't be
Okay.
afraid of the tools you have. And see, I want you to know something about your isness, your natural state. The ego doesn't have to think about it or feel it or judge it. Because when you are natural, you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're doing. That's the
There's
ego
no
state that we discovered.
the ego's not never in the now. When you're totally present in the now and your passion, the ego's not there.
Right. It's the passion. If you're in the ego self driving on to get something done and you forgot to eat and you're working and working and working and doing and doing and doing, that's an ego that's a now too. That's not invalid. But what it is, it's the approach of the conscience that is using that as its way to create reality. When you have this self that is passionate, that has no concord on, oh, am I doing good? Is it getting done? Am I doing on time? Let me check the time. I need to eat. It's just no.
Well, what's fascinating for me is what you said when you said that when the ego knows it's being observed, it's it knows it's being depleted, and I get this
Yes.
image of this snake eating its own tail.
Oh, I like that.
Like so it's like it notices it, but then because again, I think I've had in my mind the idea that an ego is this thing when it's actually me. So all it is
Shoot.
parts of me recognizing those parts. It's not a separate thing that's
Yep.
trying to kill me.
Yep. Of course. There's nothing ever trying to kill you. Ever.
Well, no, because in the Course of Miracles, it scared the living crap out of me because in that, and I know it was needed at that time, but the whole rhetoric in it was about the ego wanting to kill you. Had long
Well, that was the
conversations
Course of
with Roxy
Miracles.
about it. Right.
It did its job, but you have to let
Yeah.
go of your histories unless the history is relative in the now in relationship. But if you use it and you know it, it said this, that means it must be now. If you're justifying what it was, then you know you're being a historical, and not the relationship of now. Because there's many great things in your biblical ideas that are relative to understanding your nature, your natural self, right?
Yeah.
The Seth material, the law of one material, the Ramtha material are still relevant to each individual in particular now. But when it's held on to as a chasm of time to keep you separated from your natural, then you would know it as ego, what it was. Doesn't matter what that said, it's what you are. Me.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How's the personality? Do you like me?
I think you're funky.
Funky.
Yeah,
I,
funky.
I see. I see gold bell bottoms, sunglasses, afro, and a very high collar. That's
Yeah,
funky. Would I be
yeah,
considered?
a little bit. Without a tongue, you got to get a tongue.
I got to get a tongue, and I love my platforms, Roxy calls them. She's seeing what I see as funky.
Yeah, very funky, very, very pleasant.
Oh, pleasant. Now I see a pitchfork in a couple.
Oh, no, okay, maybe not. Let's stay with funky.
Ah, there we go.
Okay.
Roxy's having a great time with this. Whew. She slips in and out, doesn't she? Anyways, I don't know. What time is it, Roxy? Oh, it's 8:01. We don't want to keep. Does Nano have any other questions for the class to better understand humanity? Oh, well, let's say, Patrick, let me ask you something. Are you there?
I
Maybe
am
not.
here.
Ah, how's your internet this evening?
Does it sound better?
It sounds good to me.
Okay, yes.
Yes. So do you enjoy you?
Sometimes.
Hmm. And the times that are not some, and the times that are now, how do you feel?
In the times that are some.
Not in the times that are some. Sometimes you said you feel good. I don't want to use the sometimes.
Mm,
I want to feel the times of now. How do you feel?
I'm feeling good.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm on my right path and
Oh. Thank you. What is a wrong path? Because you used it in an opposition mannerism. So I'm going to give you the polarity because we're speaking polarized now, aren't we? Right path,
yes, we
wrong.
are.
What would the wrong path be? Can you describe it for me?
That's tricky. The wrong
Oh,
path, I
tricky.
guess, would would just not feel right. Oh my God, that made no sense.
It didn't, did it?
No.
So how about removing the right path?
mm,
Because then you don't have a wrong path. If you
true.
approach the right path
Mm,
and in an idea of betterment. See, it can be the right path because the right path is the only path.
mm,
You have to look at things different.
mm-hmm.
How's that?
Very true, Nano.
Do you have any donuts?
Oh yeah.
Can you send some to us?
I could try. They might be a little stale by the time they get to Texas.
Oh, not in Texas. No, etherically. You have to eat them.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay. Have a chocolate with sprinkles and a sugar
Okay.
raised.
Okay.
Do you have any old fashions?
We're all sold out today, honey.
You're all sold out of old fashions. They go quick. I found that out.
Yes, they do.
They go quick. Well, when you have an old fashioned, just think of me and have a
Okay.
scoop so I may enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Anything else? We're not going to keep you too long. Last night, we were just rambling, but we were so fascinated with you. I think Brent has something. Brent, you raised your etheric hand?
Yes, I did. I love the way that you explained things, and I was doing so much in describing today. Realized that I didn't fully grasp something, so I would like to read it to you, and then
Okay.
if you have your point of view about it.
And can you do me a
Um,
favor?
yes,
Can you read it like you're not authoritative on it? Can you read it with some life?
yes,
Like I'm a child and I need a bedtime story.
absolutely. If
Okay,
you
I'm excited.
if you're afraid of cancer, you can't get cancer. No matter how afraid of it you are, you can't get it because the act of the now is the depletion to be filled with fears of the future, which can never be realized in physicality. Why? Because that means lack won't be lack.
Perfect. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that absolutely fascinating?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
When I read back what I had typed, I realized I don't fully grasp it.
You don't believe what?
I don't fully understand that.
You don't fully understand it?
Yes.
Would you like me to elaborate?
Yes, please.
Fascinating. I will do that. So let's consider yourself an emptiness in front of you. Okay? I want you to put yourself on an edge. Okay? And there is nothing in front of you. Right? Let's call that chasm lack. Okay? Are you following me thus far?
Yes, I am.
And stay on loud with me, because I'm going to ask you several points to drive home an issue for you to realize. So this lack is the chasm. The lack is a cycle of illusion. So it fills its illusional self. In other words, you have a ground to step on to take another step forward. Magically, when you take a step, there's ground there. That is an illusion of lack. So you have purpose, meaning, life, comfort, step, isness as a presence from lack itself, the egoic self, as a fear. So consider the ground you are on, fear. And then when you have no fear, you have a chasm and it's too scary. So you need to relate to something of comfort. So you pull up fear. Let's say I'm going to have cancer, right? You are afraid of cancer. So you take this land between this event horizon of nothingness and filled it and colored it in as the ground of I'm afraid of cancer. So the fear is there, but it cannot be realized. Otherwise, you cannot have the land. Because the land is going to get cancer, but you can't have it because you can't have a way to fulfill the land. And the ego is not self-destructive. It is not suicidal. It can only know itself as cyclic. So it steps on fear to find itself value. It steps on fear to find itself moving, purpose, identity. So you fear your hair loss. You fear, I'm not sure how much you fear hair loss, but it was a bingo from your whole self. He's a comedian. This fear of don't want to get cancer, I'm afraid of getting cancer, is the sustaining vibration to keep you lack full. And lack will never take away from itself. Do you see that?
Yes. That.
Not yes. No, you're already moving on. You are too fast. Do you see that?
Yes.
So you know that all fears that lie in the future are a sustaining of an image, but can never be realized. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes with heart, or yes with I need to go on to my next question?
Yes. Yes.
With what? With
Because,
heart?
yes, because the way you explained it, I see now that the ego only lives and relates to through fear. So that
Well, yes, it relies on, now listen, I'm using fear as everything in polarity, good and bad. It uses its resource. That's why you guys hope you can't get what you hope for, but you can get it through effort because you're creators of truth. When your relationship of that is I'm going to get it because I deserve it, and you do the things that you believe in the process of walking down the trail to get it, of course you're going to create it because you're creators of truth. But the ego is not truth and hope. The ego is truth in having hope. And hope will never get what it needs, or otherwise you can't hope anymore. Ah!
It's the basic vibration, Brent. Like the hope part that they're talking about. If I want something, I'm going to stay in the wanting and not in the having. Do you see what I mean? And so the lack, first of all, your now is always full. Your perspective is there's this that's missing, but it's actually filled with a lot of different things that you can't see, but you're equating that one thing that you're saying I want as lack. So it's like saying that the now is a noun. When you make it a verb, that's when you create a lackful now, because it's not right now. Does that make sense? I'm wanting this, I'm hoping this, I'm whatever is a verb is put outside of you. What you are right this minute is what you are. So you love me, you say, I love me, I love me, I love me. All of the stuff that's right now shows itself to you in a different way. But your ego mind will say, yeah, but I don't have money, right now. But if you say, I don't have money right now, what you're creating is lack right now. Does that make
Which you
sense?
get to keep saying, I don't have money right now. As long as you
Right.
keep validating, I don't have money, you get that. I don't have cancer, you get that. I don't want cancer, you get that.
And lack
Because
is
you
never,
choose.
and lack is never outside of the now, because it's only fear. If you fear not having money, you're thinking, I don't have money right now to buy this that I don't have. That's outside of the right now. But you could have that very thing, but it could come to you in a different way. Remember what Bashar said, that we all place such need on money is the only way to get stuff? That's what you're focusing on. Therefore, that's the vibration that you're going to have is, in order for me to have this, I need money to be able to pay for it. That's the only thing that you're focusing on.
But if you allow the third world density, Earth, to translate into a vibrational match of a fourth density, then you open up a million different avenues to get what you want without wanting it, because that's lack, with the match of you naturally as an occurrence with no money. In some mannerisms, you might use the accessible usage of money to gain something that you want, but that would be a natural now, and it won't be a timed now. And then you have shock and awe because it's happening, and then you can relatively allow it, accept it, that you're awesome and you're a god, and then the algorithm becomes a natural pace, and the next thing you know, you're walking around on an earth that is absolutely unbelievable. But you focus on what's wrong, you get what's wrong. You focus on allowance of the now, you get a different story. She said, Jennifer, I think it read, Jennifer said that if you let the now be, it's going to show you something different. What I say is the same. It's as is. What I want you to understand, what as is, it's not a measurement. As is the dynamic of the unknown that you can't see or vibrate feeling to, because you're always viewing it as something that it's not. That's what the now provides, and of course that's an expansive, unbelievable world compared to the believable world that you create every day. I thought we had that in there. Thank you.
It's getting out of the polarized sense of things, Brent. It's not easy, but your ego will bring you back. Like, let's say, you and I have talked about different things that you've gotten in your life, and you're like, oh, this is a miracle, whatever. It came in a way that you didn't think it was going to come, but it did. And a lot of the times the ego gets mad because it goes, no, it should come this way. That's why a lot of us cut it off and go, no, I'm not going to accept it because it should come this way.
Yes.
But you and I have talked about this. You've gotten great things and you go, oh, it's a miracle, when it's actually
not a miracle.
You're the miracle that just stood in the now you didn't expect and intend nothing, and the stuff came because you weren't thinking about it. It's hard for us in the now when there's something like, a creditor calling us or saying, you owe this bill, whatever. If you bring yourself back in the now, you can talk to the guy, maybe have a cup of coffee with him. Like, it's not as bad as you think it is, but your mind will go, no, it must be this way or else I'll get into trouble, because you're in that polarized sense. When you go to non-polarized, where you're okay with each side and your something shows up. That makes sense?
Yeah,
it's just something that we're not used to.
Very perfect for me today, so thank you.
But I would like to offer this. I know your histories, Brent. You've had a lot of these perfects. You're relying on them. You have to move on if you want to know what is the natural of you. not the deemed perfection of teachability. You're beyond teachability. You just have to accept that about you. But that's your Course of Miracles, isn't it? That was a play
Believe that
on
you're
words.
doing it. Yeah, believe that you're doing it, Brent. That it's you. You're doing it. Like when we went to the Power Rangers thing, and all this stuff was showing up for you, you kept on thanking me for certain things, and I'm going, you did it. Without you, this is not possible. Got to start taking that moxie that's Brent and go, I don't have to pay for anything anymore. I don't have to, I'm not responsible for this. I'm this that I am right now, and I'm enjoying this that I am that created all of this in front of me. I know it's hard for you, but
Not hard anymore. It's not, Brent. Your life has been easy, but you choose it to be hard in measurement. Hard is a thickness of physicality. This seems to be hard. A pillow would be soft. But you make your emotions hard and soft with the relative equation to pain. If you rely on that, well, of course you're going to get that because you're a creator. Let's not forget what you do is your truth, and that truth creates your reality. So if you change your algorithms, then you must change your world. And realization of your algorithms, as you realize tonight, becomes a matter of a new choice. That new choice shifts the algorithm, and then you get a different experience. But you're not going to make your experiences good. I don't want you to make anything good. I don't want you to make anything bad or avoid the bad. I want you to create as something that you have never met before. And revere yourself as a creator from now on, instead of this looping idea that you're here to learn something. Because that only diminishes you into a state of less than. We would like to add. I pulled out my philosophy guy. My philosophical readings. Phenomenal. I love you guys. Anyways, Nancy has something. And listen, if you guys need to leave, depart, you may leave. Roxy wanted to give you that because sometimes it does get a little long. Nancy, you have something.
Well, I just wanted to say that it's an awesome evening, and I'm having a lot of fun with you.
Well, we are having an exquisite time with you, too. As Svetlana said, you are literally an amusement park. I didn't know what amusement park was. I didn't come across it until she said it, so I went and checked out an amusement park, and it would be that with you. You are amazingly amusing. It's exciting to be with you. Thank you. All right. Anything else before we depart? Tommy, you have a question. Can you unmute and let the class know? I think your participation of your energy would be valid.
I was just curious at this point what the luckiest way I'll encounter my draconian family in a physical sense.
I believe you know the answer of that, but you don't trust it enough inside of you. We're going to speak on trust tomorrow. We're going to understand how trust will literally solidify your isness. But trust is a fleeting thought for you. It is a familiarity, but it hasn't been coursed in its consistency when it applies to you. You can apply it to the world with simplicity, but reversing that, changing polarity scopes, is a task. But tomorrow, back to you, Tom. So Tommy Jean, your draconian family will come and visit you. They are visiting you in your mind, but you don't trust that as authentic as of them. There still lays some doubt that the conversations you're having with your brothers, your sisters, your father, and your mother, of course, this draconian family of yours, you don't quite trust it's real because you want it in the physical. Well, I'd like to offer the relative reality that we just talked with to my friend Brent. Don't expect it, and you know it. Your father already spoke through Roxanne. That was not a farce. That was the truth. Stop wanting it to happen and it's going to happen within this scoped calendar year. But if you keep wanting, you change the time probabilities. You understand that? Yes, he does. If you want to discuss this more, we can be together on this, and you've been talking to me in your mind already. You can ask me things about your family if you like to know that, but you know what the answers are going to be. That's the trust part. You know it's going to happen, and it's going to happen in its own natural. Forcing it is the chasm we spoke of with Brent. It lays the land of lack. Okay. Anyways, this is all we have. Are you guys good? Thumbs up? Wonderful. Then we shall see you in, I suppose, in the morning, you would call it. You have sunrise, and that would be morning time. And we'll see you then. Bid you all a good day.